Hello and welcome to this special monthly update with myself, Andrew, and I also have Dan here, who's going to ask one or two questions.
Yes, I'm just going to be asking questions in relation to a few clients that have put some queries for us. So what's happening with the markets just now, and how does it compare to March 2020 back in those COVID days?
Yes, well, I think the position's a lot better just at the moment than it was in March, say, or April of 2020 when the pandemic first appeared. So at the beginning, there was a lot of panic because we've never seen something like this in the modern world. So the unknown was the key there. And with the money markets, they tend to move over the short term and go into panic mode very, very easily. So that's saw the biggest fall over such a short time since 1987. It's different today because of the fact we know the effects of the pandemic and how they've been dealt with over the years, which is for central banks to pump in lots and lots of cheap money into the markets to keep that volatility. And that's been good for the money markets because they're getting lots and lots of free money and they're loving it. And what the banks are now saying is, well, actually, I think our job here is done because the economies actually throughout the world generally are performing really, really well. And there isn't the same need to keep this level of liquidity there. So the governments are sort of saying, right, well, I think the time's come. The Bank of England signalled it at the end of December by saying, right, we're not going to do this the same level of free money as we were doing, and raised interest rates as well. And the Federal Reserve, the biggest bank in the world, as we know, they're now saying, right, well, I think the time has come to start raising interest rates and to start cutting back on the money that we're pumping into the economy. And so that's got the money markets a little bit spooked. It's like the stabilizers have been taken off the bicycle, and how are we going to perform? And the bottom line is you'll perform very well, and those companies that can't perform that well, you don't deserve to be in the business. So there may be one or two failures as a result of this. But it's a combination really of inflation, which is too few goods being chased by too many people. The energy supply as well, which means that we're paying a lot more now for fuel, for example, than we have in the past. We remember in May 2020, oil went negative for the first time ever, and now it's hovering towards the $90 a barrel mark. So filling up our gas guzzlers at the station,
You can feel that.
Another 50%. And even crazy things like that, the price of second-hand cars, for example, is increasing. Who'd have thought?
Timber.
Amazing.
Wood.
Yeah.
Can't get any wood from my decking.
All these things. So it really is. It's time perhaps for the stimulus to start being scaled back because of the fact that the governments have done what they wanted to, which is to prevent mass unemployment and mass financial difficulty, which has done a good job. But now it needs to go into the next phase of rebuilding the economies and settling for the new world.
Okay, so the question beckons then, how has this affected the portfolios and the investments of our clients?
Yes, well, I imagine here you're talking short term, Dan.
Absolutely, short term, yes.
So over the last month, it's followed the same trend as we would expect. So the more cautious the portfolio, so in other words, the less exposure to equities, then the effects have not been as dramatic. So for example, our cautious portfolio, which has around about 35-36% equities, that's finished the month down around about 4%. Then the balanced portfolio, around about 56-57% equities, is down about 6%. The capital growth portfolio with the 80% equity holding is down about 7%. And the aggressive portfolio with over 90% equity exposure down about 8% over the month. However, over the last year, all the portfolios are up in value. So if you're opening a statement that you received a year ago, compare it to where you are now, you will have still all made money.
So with that then, is there a need, do you think, for people to look at their attitude to risk and maybe change that? And are you looking to incorporate something else into the portfolio, looking to change things, or what's the situation?
Yes, Well, generally what we don't do is in the middle of anything like this with the volatility, is we don't look to make any changes unless something fundamental has changed. So what changed at the start of the pandemic was that we knew that money was going to be freely available from the banks, and therefore the fixed interest component was probably likely to be the one worst hit longer term. So you'll have heard us yabber on for quite a while about moving away from fixed interest and increasing the equity exposure, and we've been very successful in doing that. So that was the one change we made from the start of the pandemic. Just at the moment though, the portfolios are looking very, very good in terms of the assets we've got and the quality of funds we're using. So there's no need to make any changes on the portfolios, and it's only if somebody's individual circumstances have changed. So for example, they've just arrived at retirement, or they've had major purchases coming up, or a life-changing incident, that we would need to change their attitude to risk. In fact, what's happened over the last few weeks is we've had one or two clients actually going up the risk profile as they see this more of a buying opportunity rather than an opportunity to sort of take out the money.
That leads me into my next question. Is it a good time to buy? I think a lot of people want to know, is it a good time to buy? Is this the dip that we've been waiting for a while now, since March 2020?
Dan, it's always a good time to buy. It's probably a particularly good one at the moment, just because of the fact that we're seeing this panic from the markets who are looking to make money in a short period of time. And if you take more of a long-term view, then this is the ideal situation to be coming into, providing you can accept the volatility. So this volatility is likely to last for a good wee while, and if you don't like your investments going up and down in value, then no. So everybody's circumstances different, and take advice. If you have any questions, just let us know.
And finally, Andrew, so what's the outlook going forward for not only the portfolios but also the economy?
Yes, I think the outlook is very, very good for both. When we look at the employment numbers, for example, just at the moment here in the UK, for example, there's more people employed than ever. So we've got almost full employment. Some sectors are sort of still in the doldrums a wee bit, but generally the outlook's very, very good. The level of debt that the UK government's got is getting reduced because of the taxes we pay. And I think the fundamentals for growth are very, very good. There was a survey that came out towards the end of last year from international business leaders saying which area they're looking for, or which area they would consider the best to invest in. And the UK, the developed nations, came out top of that table above any of the other countries. So a lot of people outside the UK got great confidence in what we're doing here. Brexit for us in the financial world was very, very good in terms of making money for people. The pandemic is another great example of how we make money on the back of volatility. So anything that causes the price to rise and fall in a short period of time is good for us, and that will be the way going forward. We'll have these health issues, we'll have supply and demand issues, we'll have inflation, we'll have rising interest rates, but not like they were back in the 80s. So I think the position is very, very good. And more importantly, in the world, there's a lot of people whose incomes haven't been affected by the virus, and they're looking to spend the money. And when they look to pump that money into the economy, it does so much good, not only for the governments, but also for those companies that we have assets within. So, and the outlook is very, very good for what we do.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully that answers a few of the questions that our clients have been posing.
Well, I hope so, but as always, any particular questions, any comments you've got, do let us know. So we'd be looking forward to helping you. This is where we want to perhaps do more communication, I think, at points where we do have this volatility, just to reassure it is normal, it is expected, and it's what drives future returns. So volatility is very, very good for what we do longer term.